The PS4 and Xbox One have entered the final stage of their existence. That's not to say there's nothing to look forward to. Quite the opposite. The tail end of the PS4's life cycle doesn't seem to be short of high-quality exclusives. Media Molecule's Dreams should finally see the light of day. Days Gone is scheduled to be released next April, followed by big hitters like Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2 and Death Stranding. It's likely that at least one of them will be a cross-generation title. If the PS5 releases in late 2020, it's not out the realm of possibility that titles like Death Stranding are currently being developed with PS5 hardware in mind. Be that as it may, the last years of Sony's console are still full of great exclusives. The same cannot be said about the competition. Amazing Xbox One exclusives have been a rare sight throughout this generation. Apart from titles like Ori and the Blind Forest, Cuphead and Sunset Overdrive, Microsoft delivered the same old in the form of Halo, Gears and Forza. One thing is undeniable, Microsoft needs a fresh start. We've officially entered the final phase. More and more supposed industry insiders are revealing information regarding the PS5's hardware specs and release window. Needless to say, we have to take all of these leaks with a huge grain of salt. We know the PS5 and next Xbox are currently being developed, so much has been confirmed. Apart from that, we've nothing official. However, Sony's and Microsoft's preparations for the next console generation are clearly at full tilt. After ditching its annual PlayStation experience, Sony made even greater headlines when it announced that PlayStation is officially skipping next E3 for the first time in its 24-year-old history. Microsoft, on the other hand, is making major investments to expand its first-party network. Since E3 2018, Microsoft's first-party family has grown by 7 members, including respected names such as Ninja Theory and most recently Obsidian Entertainment. Sony's unsurprising E3 2018 conference and the decision to skip PSX and E3 2019, as well as Microsoft's studio acquisitions, are all pointing towards something bigger. We've entered the calm before the storm being the next major console war, of course. Naturally, the burning question on everybody's mind is which system is more likely to win the next console generation. First of all, we have to remember that Sony and Microsoft are entering the next generation on completely different terms. The PS4 is outselling the Xbox One by a significant margin. So far, none of Microsoft's efforts have been able to close the gap. On the contrary, the gap is still widening. The Xbox One is struggling to reach the 40 million mark, where the PS4 already outsold the lifetime sales of its predecessor after no more than 5 years on the market. The PS4's decisive superiority in numbers is Sony's greatest advantage. In fact, the PS4's tremendous success raises the following question: can Microsoft regain its position as market leader? Can we imagine a scenario in which the next Xbox outsells the PS5? As far as I can tell, there's only one. What Microsoft needs is a mistake of massive proportions on Sony's part. In other words, a winning scenario for Microsoft is depending on the missteps of its competition. To make it even clearer, Sony has to make the same mistake that sealed the Xbox One's fate at the beginning of this generation. The competitive history between Xbox and PlayStation looks somewhat like this. After releasing the most successful console of all time, Sony generated a massive ego and dismissed Microsoft's console as a serious competitor. Sony's unbridled arrogance led to some devastating business decisions which negatively influenced the launch of the PlayStation 3. Microsoft was able to capitalize on Sony's arrogance and became the new market leader, which in turn resulted in a consumer-hostile and arrogant Microsoft, and the unforgettable shit show that was the Xbox One reveal event.
TV, watch TV, TV remote, TV experience, TV.
In short, PlayStation dominates, then Xbox dominates, and then PlayStation dominates again. In a way, the blatant stupidity of the competition is both companies' greatest asset. If Sony sticks to tradition, the PS5 reveal should be accompanied by an outrageously high price tag, poor treatment of the fanbase, and a bunch of other counterproductive decisions. But even if Sony makes the same fatal mistake again, the sales gap between PS4 and Xbox One might still be too severe. But if Sony continues to pursue the strategy that made the PS4 successful, a victory for Microsoft seems out of question. Then again, maybe I'm giving Sony too much credit and history is doomed to repeat itself. If a victory for Microsoft seems doubtful, what's the next best option? Well, it's quite simple. The next best option is a Microsoft that's willing to finally put up a fight again. I want the next console generation to be about healthy competition on all possible fronts, forcing both Sony and Microsoft to show their A-game. Because this console generation simply didn't do that. To a certain extent, Microsoft and Sony were doing their own thing and barely reacted to the achievements of the competition. The Xbox One's backward compatibility program and innovative services like Game Pass are outshining the lukewarm alternatives in the form of PS Now and a PS2 emulator. On the other hand, the PS4's quantity and quality of exclusives put the repetitive and oftentimes mediocre exclusive portfolio of the Xbox One to shame, making it seem like Microsoft not only lost the race, but never had the desire to participate in the first place. In that regard, the last console generation was far more exciting. What if, for the first time in Xbox and PlayStation history, neither of the two companies makes devastating mistakes at launch? I wanna see two companies which are benefiting not from the devastating and boneheaded failures of the competition, but from effort and innovation on their own. For us, the gaming community and end consumer, it would be the best case scenario. Call me a fool, but I'm quite optimistic when it comes to the next generation of Xbox and PlayStation hardware. At first, it looked like Microsoft is pulling out of the whole exclusive business. Now that they realized you still need great exclusives in order to keep the hardcore fanbase happy and win undecided people for your platform, they've begun to invest in their first-party network and at least try to compete with Sony's roster of world-class studios. It only took Microsoft 17 years to realize that a great exclusive lineup requires an equally as great first-party studio network. Better later than never, I suppose? Instead of building a proper first-party network, Microsoft deemed it more productive to spend and waste outrageous amounts of money for timed exclusivity deals, which in the end did more to hurt the Tomb Raider brand than help it. Even after the acquisition of Obsidian, I still don't believe Microsoft's first-party network is on eye level with Sony's, mostly because many of the newly acquired studios have yet to prove that they can do better than the mediocre games they've released thus far. At this point, Microsoft's network is on par in terms of size, but in terms of quality output, it's kind of a mixed bag. If you are interested in a more detailed analysis of Microsoft's studio acquisitions, you can check out my The Future of Xbox Exclusives video. Anyway, my point is, Microsoft is stepping in the right direction. For the first time in years, I'm actually excited for future Xbox titles. I can't wait to see the new IPs studios like Ninja Theory, Obsidian and The Initiative are currently working on. Believe it or not, but many of Microsoft's first-party studios are now developing something that isn't Halo, Gears or Forza. And good on them, Sony needs the competition. Well, I think I'll end it here. Which console will dominate the next generation in your opinion, and how does Microsoft's first-party network compare to Sony's? As always, you are welcome to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Before I end this video, I'd like to address the lack of content on my channel as of late. As some of you may have noticed, I haven't uploaded anything for almost 5 weeks. That's mainly due to the fact that the new semester is in full swing right now, which makes it fairly difficult to work on videos for the channel next to all my university work. That doesn't mean I'm not working on the channel, it just takes a whole lot longer. So here are my goals for the channel. Before this year ends, I'd like to finish at least 2 more videos, one of which will be quite substantial and probably over half an hour long. You may have guessed it, I'm talking about my Red Dead 2 review. Apart from that, I'm also eager to talk about my favorite games of the year. It's impossible to cover every single game I played and enjoyed on this channel, so making a top 10 list is a great way to talk about all the games I couldn't feature on the channel. Although it probably won't be a top 10 list, to be honest. I only want to include my absolute favorite games, so it's probably end up being a top 5 or top 7 list. So yeah, sorry for the lack of content, guys. At the beginning of next year I should be able to return to old form. But again, you are definitely gonna see my Red Dead 2 review and Game of the Year discussion in the next few weeks. What else is there to say except...
I'll be back.